The Union Media Group presents the State of the Union. Tune in live this Thursday as we tackle the number one topic facing our global community and how it's affecting high school basketball right here in the DMV. Our panel includes Rob Ninkens of the Theodore Roosevelt Rough Riders, Lou Wilson, Henry A. Wise Pumas, Mike Jones of the DeMatha Catholic Stags, and Tyrone Massenburg of the Frederick Douglass Eagles. Tune in live on Facebook at the Union Media Group Facebook page as we ask the questions that the people want to know. The Union Media Group, promoting unity for the uplifting of our community. This is the Union, the Union, the Union, the Union.
So hype right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
So special.
Well, I think first and foremost, I think in the job that we all have, obviously it cut a lot of seasons short, a lot of playoff games, championship games, opportunities for the young men to continue to play and compete for something, to be seen by college coaches and things like that. So it is, I won't say ruined anything, but it definitely has changed at least our approach in terms of trying to get our seniors into college. And then my heart goes out to the seniors who, when they walked off the court for their last game, they did not know that that was their last time doing that. And, you can use the old cliche of, play every game like it's your last because you never know when. But I don't think anybody ever used that cliche for something like this. So my heart goes out to them.
Okay. So how did it affect you, Bird?
Just a little different from Mike's situation. He was able to, and congratulations to him for winning that WCAC championship. We were in a situation where we made it to the Final Four of the state championship, and we found out as we were practicing that first that we would not have our fans, and then we found out a day later that we would not be playing and it would postpone. So as Coach said, we did not really think that would be our last time together. I haven't seen my team since that last practice we had. So, we just, I've been, trying to keep in contact with them. They haven't postponed they have postponed the tournament as of now. But as days turn into weeks, starting to kind of feel like, that might have been our last time together.
Gotcha. What about you, Rob?
Honestly, it's been crazy. Never expected anything to impact basketball this way. From the kids' standpoint, just the day-to-day operations, having our kids in school, being able to see these guys. Our season was pretty much completed, so it didn't affect me basketball-wise, but it just affected day-to-day operations with being around my children that I love. And I think that's the thing that's really, really hurting me at this time because, it's bigger than basketball with me. These kids are pretty much my family. So to be around them every day, daily when they go into school is important to me. It's a big part of my program. And not to be able to do that at this moment has been very, 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 very bad. So, my heart goes out to like Coach Bird. Like Bird, Bird was still playing and preparing to win a state championship before it to end. I pray for my friend because, he's important to me also. So it's crazy what we're dealing with right now. But the number one thing is for kids to be safe. And so basketball is not bigger than the game of life. So that's how I look at it.
Coach, you mentioned the recruitment process about the seniors that's going from high school to college. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Because you got parents at home, and especially the seniors at home in limbo, wondering what's their next step. What type of advice or what can you tell them about what you foresee being that next step?
Yeah, well, it's going to be tough. Like, I don't know if anybody can really draw on a past experience on how to manage and navigate this, because I don't know if there's ever been a situation like this. But, you know, for the young men and young ladies out there that were looking forward to playing a couple more games, getting a little bit more things on film, maybe going to a tournament where they know college coaches were going to be able to be present and watch them in person. You know, the best thing to do right now is to stay in contact with your coach. Hopefully he or she is reaching out to people for you. Hopefully there's footage that they can put together for you and send to schools. You do have a couple of outlet services and media services that are trying to do stuff for seniors. I know Marcus Helton has a group that's trying to do something for unsigned seniors. So whereas you don't have that platform to actually go play live in front of somebody, there are other options out there. So just stay in contact with your coach and see what he or she can expose you to and help you get.
Gotcha. Anybody else? What are you telling your seniors?
I mean, with me in my program, I mean, you know, I have some connections. I mean, all over the country, whether it's junior college, NAIA, whatever it may be. Just like I know Mike and Bird do too. And you just have to be able to call these coaches and put your seniors on that platform and be like, man, this is a guy that can help you. But the number one thing is footage. They're gonna always ask for footage because people want to see people. So I've been able to send some tapes out on our guys that are seniors, and hopefully, man, you know, someone really likes it, and hopefully you can get off it that way. But that's, like Mike said, it's real tough at this point in time because most people want to see you live. Right. You know, they want to see you play live. So, I mean, it's not easy, but as coaches, man, you know, it's our job to try to push these kids to the next level. So we have to work as hard as we can because, you know, the situation that we're in right now.
And it's not many opportunities that come about where coaches that are experienced as, you know, the guys here don't have the ability to draw on something they've done before. Like somebody gets hurt and somebody needs to step up. You can talk to your team about, hey, we've done this before. Certain situations that happen within games or within the season, hey, we've done this before. Like, I think even the coaches are almost at a loss because we haven't been through this before. Yep. So everything that happens now is going to be brand new.
Coach, I know you've had those conversations with parents. I'm sure parents has probably reached out to you. Talk about some of those conversations, man, and how difficult it is in your position to be able to handle that situation, man, and talk to that parent about their senior athlete.
Yeah, it has been, as Coach Mike and Coach Rob said, it's a situation that we didn't foresee having to deal with, and you know, it's new, and they definitely look to the head coach for that guidance. So, you know, we just try to keep everything in perspective. We can't change the situation. I always try to find a positive or a way that we can still achieve what we want to achieve, which is try to get them as much exposure and get schools to try to, you know, to offer them a chance to play at their school. So it's giving me more time to kind of put film together that I usually don't have. It's giving me more time to make phone calls that I usually don't have. So I've talked to more coaches probably in the past couple of weeks that I haven't talked to in years. So, you know, those type of things I'm taking advantage of, the time, use the time wisely. And, you know, everybody's in the same situation. So my goal right now is to call as many coaches as possible. And that's what I tell the parents and I tell the senior players and even the junior players that's what I'm doing during this time right now. So that gives them a little bit of, you know, coach is still out here working for me.
That's important to know. You know, these parents are wondering what these coaches are doing. So it's good to hear that you guys are still working in the background, still trying to get opportunities for these seniors.
Well, I think we have Coach Lou Wilson from Wise on the line. Lou, are you there? Can you hear me, Lou?
I can hear you.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic this evening.
Gotcha, man. Well, thanks for coming on the State of the Union. Elaborate a little bit. The coaches have mentioned how Corona has affected them in their program. I want you to talk about how Corona has affected Wise and your program.
Well, I'll tell you, it really has slowed us down quite a bit. My second year at Dr. Henry Wise High School, we're on a 3-year process where we're trying to get our program started and off to a championship caliber national program. And we think we're ahead of the game right now, but the virus has certainly put us to a screeching halt. We were heading in a great run for the state championship. We had started to play very, very well in the playoffs, playing a great Bowie High School team. My senior guard, Kewan Kragler, had a fantastic game to help us promote us to the next game. But it was a total team effort. Our kids really played well. Our all-Met player, Trey Thomas, who carried us most of the year, stepped up big time against the defending state champions, Theodore Roosevelt, and then we won that regional championship. So we felt like we were heading in the right direction as to being a state champion.
Gotcha. So, Lou, let's talk about, we have you on the line for a little while. Elaborate a little bit. This is your second season here at Wise, and what did you have to do to get the program to the next level?
Well, like I said, it's a process, and we always go in as a 3-year process. When I was at Frederick Douglass High School, first starting out as coaches, it took me 3 years to get that program to be recognized in the Washington Post, top 10 program in the Washington Post. We went to the state finals. We lost that state final game, but it was that 3-year process that stabilized our program. Unfortunately, my head coach at Howard University, A.B. Williamson, asked me to come in and work for him as an assistant, so I moved on to the college level. And then I came back to high school, came back to Largo High School, starting that 3-year process again, laying that foundation. And we were able to win a state championship, the school's first state championship, actually, at Largo High School, with some really, really good players. We thought we were going to be able to pull in some private school players like the person you have on the panel right now, Mike Jones, who lives in the Largo community. We thought we were going to be able to get him to come over to boost our program, but he stayed at DeMatha, and we didn't fault him for that. But we went on and won a state championship with the community team, and then we built a national program there. We took our team to Philadelphia. We took them to Richmond. We took our public school kids all over the place to get that recognition, to get that national exposure. And then when I transferred over to Riverdale Baptist, there's another process that we took upon, and it took us 3 years to get that rolling. We won a couple state championships there after 3 seasons, and then we kept building, and kept getting better, and kept getting better players. It's all about your coaching staff and your players. I mean, I thought we have a great coaching staff to help me mold the student athletes, and then we have the players that want to buy into the program so we can be successful.
Right. So let's talk about the buy-in a little bit. Without gym access right now because of Corona, what advice are you giving students and your players exactly?
Well, actually, Neil, great question. It's not a lot that we can do as far as in the gym, but, they can reflect back. Well, some of the people can reflect back to old school basketball. The gyms were not available. Not many rec centers were in the county. So you would find most of the players out on the playground. So, I just employ the kids to be safe, number one, not to have a lot of students or a lot of friends around the basketball court, but maybe have, one or two, or maybe your parents, your mother, your father, whoever can feed you the ball, or maybe, snap a finger, blow a whistle, work on reaction drills, work on shooting, defensive things. So I just think they need to still work on their craft, but be safe because of the virus.
How do you actually work on your craft in the house, though, Lou? I know you can do exercises to keep your body fit, but what type of exercises or drills could they do to help on basketball? It seems like that.
Well, like I said, there are outdoor courts that you can go to in the neighborhood. You ride by. In my neighborhood, there was a kid named Trey Thomas. I know you can find him out on the court. With an instructor passing the ball, doing some drills, him by himself. So you don't have to be in the house to do the drills. You can go out to the outdoor courts and put in the work.
Absolutely. Well, Lou, we appreciate you being on the call with us. Please stay tuned. Coaches on the panel, I want to ask you the same question. What are you telling your players right now that can't get to a court, that don't have the access to a gym or a facility? What are you telling them to do to stay in shape and be prepared?
Well, we do daily drills at Roosevelt. We do ball handling drills, shooting drills every day. So I tell my guys, videotape and send it to me. Show me that you're doing it. Just see Trimble, kid that made first team all city and all state, was doing ball handling drills, showing me that on video. And that's, you can't monitor it, like you want to, but at least, these guys are trying to do something. And that's important. Just sitting around the house not doing anything will hurt you. But like when we played the game, you can do road work by yourself. We did it. We would run, get a friend and run. We don't have to touch to be able to run. You know what I'm saying? With Mike at the distance I am, we can run to the monument. So you can keep your, self in shape and try to do something. But just sitting around, if you want to play at the next level, you need to be doing something. And that's my advice to not only my guys, but anybody that's playing basketball at this time. Jump rope, do push-ups, do sit-ups, do something that's going to help your body physically where you can continue on the mission so when it does come back, you're not out of shape where you can't get to be back at the level you was playing at first. That's my advice.
That's good advice to other coaches as well, to have the kids actually videotape themselves and show the accountability.
That's what we're doing in the milk house. Yep.
That's good advice.
What about you, Bird?
This is the time where, you're going to separate yourself from, if you really are committed to the sport and to your craft. My kids, I just send a message to them to stay in shape and to always, be a student of the game. There's so many games to watch, so many tapes to watch. And, eventually I get an opportunity to get back in the gym with them and get back to the basketball operations. But it's not really, just to be safe right now. And just, I really haven't had a conversation with them about just staying basketball ready because of the situation that's going on. I pretty much have been talking about being safe. Mm-hmm. And, they know to stay in shape.
Right.
They know to stay in shape. And then the ones that are truly committed to their craft, I don't really have to worry about that.
Gotcha. So, Mike, what are you telling the kids? You kind of had a pretty good season. You WCAC champs. You finalized your games. What are you telling your kids?
Well, we weren't done yet. We had a few more games left as well, but I think my approach is definitely different than Berg and Rob's. Basketball has become a year-round sport, and when they finish with us, when they finish with coach, they go right to AAU. And a lot of times the kids don't get a chance to rest. They don't get a chance to not have that daily grind. And I know the grind that our kids went through this year from basically when we started doing yoga and lifting and running in late August, early September. So to go all the way through the end of February into March, I'm encouraging our guys to just like, yo, be a normal kid for once. We have a rule in our league anyway that you're not allowed to do anything after your last game. You have to take off 3 weeks. Now, again, for our kids, that doesn't mean anything. They just go play AAU. But we wouldn't have any basketball interaction for those 3 weeks, and that's what we're in the middle of right now. So our approach is a little bit different. I think it's great that they're able to relax a little bit. I talked to one of my players the other day, and he's hanging out doing stuff with his little sister that he hasn't had a chance to do since last summer. So I think it's a really good time for family and things like that. Now, all of them are watching YouTube this and NBA channel this, and, the league pass was free for a couple of days. Like, they all were watching that stuff and definitely keeping their brain going. We encourage guys to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups every night anyway, whether we're in season or out of season, help with their core strength and then their commitment to doing something. So we hope that those things continue, but the actual doing stuff for basketball I think it's good for them to have a little bit of time off right now.
Gotcha.
So is that 3 week period, is that league enforced or for the team?
No, that's the league. Like, once our season ends, and I think the league looks at it as the last team in our league to play their last game, that is the official end of the season, everybody has to take 3 weeks off. Now, again, everybody in our league they all go play AAU, so it's not like they're away from basketball, but in terms of us. And I'm going to tell you right now, my kids, they would probably tell you if they were sitting here, the last thing they want is a text message from me right now. Like, I mean, we went through a whole lot together this season. It's kind of good for us to be away from each other a little bit.
All right. So before we leave the topic of Corona, let's talk about you guys personally. What are you doing with your downtime? Are we Netflixing, YouTube, and studying film? What are you actually doing?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of coaches TikToking on social network. Is TikToking?
Nah, I'm not TikToking. I mean, like Mike said, when you go through a season like we just went through, and everybody sitting at this, table went through, you want to get yourself some rest. I mean, because, like I said, basketball is year-round. I coach AAU. I know Mike has USA basketball. I know Bird does this thing also after the season's over. So you want to, be able to get some rest and take it light. But you're not going to not watch basketball. So I'm going to be honest with you, man. I've been YouTube and everything we get YouTube. You always want to get better watching old games, style of play, different styles of play. I'm not much of a zone coach. I'm a man-to-man guy, pressure guy. Everybody knows that. So I've been watching a lot of games where people are playing zone just to try to get better and always work on my craft. So, I mean, you can find something to do, but the rest is very important for coaches because you go through such a tiring season that, man, you need to be able to sit back and reflect, not only on the year, but what's going to be in front of you the following year.
Absolutely. What about you, Bird? I know you're not a big social media person, so what you doing?
Man, I've definitely been getting a lot of rest. I've watched a lot of games, a lot of our games. I watch a lot of the old school basketball games that come on ESPN. I'm glad that they're showing those games. Trying to get a little better at Madden.
Trash.
A little better. I'll let you know when I'm ready.
I gotta have a Madden tournament for
Yeah,
coaches.
but other than that, I've been getting a lot of rest and just hoping that this virus doesn't just shut us down as long as some people are saying it is.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I've been doing, glued to the TV, watching the news and trying to stay focused.
Gotcha. What about you, Mike?
It's all about USA prep. We got our group selection. We know we were going to be competing if things go as planned. We will be competing against Russia, New Zealand, and then either Japan or and Mali. So I've been watching film on them, and it looks like it might be for nothing, but the one thing that won't happen is we won't be ill-prepared. So if it does happen and our tournament still goes on later on this summer, I will have seen our opponent plenty. So
Y'all being real political at the table, but I know y'all watching Netflix. What y'all watching on Netflix? You watching All American, Rob? I know you.
Nah, I like Last Chance U. I mean,
Oh,
I go back and watch season 1, season 2. I'm a Last Chance U guy. I like football. I like the competitiveness of Last Chance U. I mean, junior college football is best, so I watch Last Chance U. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan of my Last Chance U.
Respect, Bird, you ain't watching nothing.
You know what I'm watching?
What you watching?
Martin.
Martin.
Like, oh, you lucky I got the cards. You already know what time it is.
That's him.
Never know on Netflix?
Ozarks.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, watch Ozarks. I watch a little bit of All American.
Ozarks about?
Ozarks is a financial guy that gets tied up in some cartel mob type stuff.
But it's not football related.
Nah.
Basketball.
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
You don't watch
But
them
neither
type
is
shows?
The Wire, Sons of Anarchy,
True.
Breaking Bad, all of those. Those, I think, are the best shows ever. Snowfall, stuff like that. So, but Ozarks has got my attention right now. New episode comes out on Friday. New season comes out on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Giving them a plug, everything. Yeah. Put you on the paper. I'm going to watch it, though, just good.
Before we transition, and I'm glad you said that, what is the best show, series, anything that's on Netflix that you watch? The best show.
The genre?
Yeah, any.
Wow. I don't know. That's tough.
That's tough too.
The best show ever in the history of television to me is The Wire.
Okay, well,
So-
we go television. Wire. Where you going, Bird? We going Martin?
I'm going to go Martin, then The Wire.
I don't know how many people watch Friday Night Lights. But
Okay.
I like Friday Night Lights on Netflix.
What about you, Commish?
I'm trying to get into the Netflix, man. I'm always working, so I never had an opportunity to watch Netflix. So I'm getting my information right now from these coaches, figure out what to watch. I'm going to binge watch something. I just don't know what it is.
Start with season 1 of Martin.
What about you? What about
And
you? What
man,
you
I'm-
watch?
right now, I'm watching All American, Martin, all my episodes of Martin. That's about it, honestly.
What's All American? Is that a basketball or football?
It's a football talk about a kid that's growing up in the West Coast and the issues they got to deal with over there.
Sounds like an interesting show. I might tune in.
Yeah, something you would like.
I think so.
All right, so let's transition into high school basketball and get into the second phase of today. So let's talk about the Washington Post All-Met. Rob, you're the coach of the year.
Congratulations, Rob.
Congratulations, absolutely.
More round of applause, round of
Yeah,
applause, round of
all
applause.
that. So let's talk about that first. Once you was notified that you will be the coach of the year, what were your thoughts?
Just a long journey, a lot of hard work. But you know, I follow guys like Mike Jones and Steve Turner, guys that have done that. And I always want to be on that level. So it was a great moment in my coaching career. But you know, thank the man upstairs for giving me the opportunity, because without God, nothing's possible.
Right.
And then I thought about my kids and everybody's around me, my administration in the school. It takes a lot of people to make me the coach of the year, or just to have a successful basketball program. Rob Ninkens is a small piece of Theodore Roosevelt basketball puzzle, and I understand that. So I just thanked everybody that was in my circle, my community, my council member, Brandon Tyre, everybody that supports Roosevelt basketball and supports me and my program. Pretty much, I wanted it to be for them. That's what I thought about, everybody around me, but more importantly, my kids, because we put so much pressure on these kids to play well daily or to work hard. They deserve to be champions this year, but you know, that's what I thought about. I thought about my staff. My staff goes beyond the call of duty. Dave Miles, Tony Langley, everybody's around me, man. They work tremendous. Chuck, Taylor, they work so hard to make this program strong yearly. So that's what I thought about. I thought about my staff first, and that's who I celebrated. They won Coach of the Year. I'm just in the position.
We talk about celebration. I follow you on social media, so there was video floating around of that moment when you won that championship game, man.
Correct.
Talk about that feeling. What was going through your mind at that moment? Because there was a lot of emotion going on that.
Well, I know Mike knows this. Mike, we've won championships. DeMatha is a power every year. Mike has won plenty of championships. Mike beat me in the city title game in 2011. And when you've won championships, you're okay, but each year you have different teams.
Right.
So you want them kids to have the championship experience. Forget Rob Ninkens. Rob Ninkens has felt that. So this group, 29-1, you know, and if we lose this championship game, pretty much it's a bad season at Theodore Roosevelt. You 29-2, and you number 2 in Washington, D.C. So the emotions of not being there, we're going every year. We've been every year since 2011. We've been to the championship game every year. And to finally, I'm not going to sit here and play to get over the hump and beat Wilson, who has beaten us the last couple of years.
Were you guys underdogs in that game?
Yeah, we was.
29-1?
We was underdogs at 29-1. So I guess the emotions of the last couple of years, losing the championship game at that moment and knowing that I never stopped believing in the vision that we would be city champions again, it hit me all at once. And I was happy for my kids because I've seen the work they've put in to get to that moment. I was more happy for them than myself and my staff. Like, I wanted to win the championship for my staff and my kids. Like I said, forgive me, I've tasted the pie multiple times. It was about the people that's around me now. So that's why I was so emotional and happy.
Gotcha. I'm going to come back to you. But, Mike, you also had 2 guys that were all MAT. Mm-hmm. So speak about how did you feel? You normally have a kid or 2 always all MAT, but what was special about this one?
No, it's been plenty of years we haven't had one, so yeah, it's been plenty.
Hold up, before you go on, round of applause. Making it to that championship game.
But honestly, you know, Hunter Dickinson and Earl Timberlake Jr. will be forever entrenched in what DeMatha has become. You know, Hunter's a 4-year guy for us. Earl's a 3-year guy for us. Earl, in his 3 seasons with us, and one of them cut short, won 96 games. Like, that's crazy. Hunter won 121 games. And you look at this, and, you know, you talk about what this situation is taking away. So, you know, we started compiling all-time wins at DeMatha. James Robinson graduated with 122 wins back in 2012, and a lot of people thought no one's ever going to break that. Last year, Justin Moore, our last game in Cumberland, got to 123. Well, we didn't play in the Maryland State private school tournament because we wanted to save the opportunity to go to Geico Nationals, and then the Alhambra tournament gets cut short. With 3 more wins, Hunter's at 124, and I don't care what anybody says, that is just going to be ridiculously tough to ever break. Absolutely. But he doesn't get that opportunity. So him being all met, Earl being all met, you know, kind of like Rob said, you know, I look at those things as team awards anyway. And the fact that those 2 are very dominant players individually, but if our team's not good, they're not first team all met. If we don't have the success that we had, you know, people can recognize them as good players and just call me a bad coach. Right. But the fact that our team was successful, that's why they're first team all man. And Hunter's the player of the year. And, you know, the 2 people or the 2 groups of people that both of them congratulated and thanked first and foremost were their teammates. So
let's talk about Hunter a little bit. In the social media land, they're comparing him, or there's a rumor saying he's the greatest big man from this area. Now, with you being his coach, you might be a little biased. But where do you rank him amongst the greatest from this area to be a big man?
Well, that's not fair. Like, it's really not fair. It's not fair to Hunter. It's not fair to all the bigs that have played. And I've coached, I think, a good group of post players in a position that I think Hunter is looked at that now because he's rare. Like, when's the last time we've had a big in this area? So, you know, everybody's kind of a victim of just the current state. And there hasn't been a true post player in this area for I don't know how long. So Hunter being somebody that comes along when no one's seen anything like him, and then him being as skilled as he is, he's not just I'm bigger than everybody else, I'm gonna turn around and dunk. He can shoot, he can pass, he can, you know, he can do a little bit of everything. So I think a lot of that deals with why he's looked at that way. So I'm gonna tell you, like, I will pick him over anybody else, but right. I mean, hopefully in a couple of years I'll have another big man. You ask me that same question, and I'll say the same thing about him.
Gotcha. So I did want to come back to you real quick, Rob.
Okay.
So since we're being honest and we're here at the forum, there's a lot. How do you feel being the coach but not having any players actually make All-Met?
I thought we had a couple of guys we had a couple of guys make honorable mention. Honestly, I think winning a championship takes care of all that. I think winning the championship takes care of all that. You want your kids to get the highest accolades they can get. Well, I thought Jasiah Trimble and I thought Ryan Blakeney and some of the guys that we had were capable of being All-Met players, first, second team. But, it pushes us to push them next year this time, so hopefully they can make it. And we got to work a little bit harder. But it really doesn't affect our program if a guy doesn't make first team All-Met or second team All-Met. The goal is to win championships in Roosevelt and to get these guys college scholarships. And if All-Met or something comes with that, then that's the icing on the cake. So that's how I look at it with my approach. But I want my kids to always be recognized.
Right.
Always.
You use it as bulletin board material.
Oh, for sure.
Use it as a motivator.
Yes, for sure. It might be some guys that may All-Met that we think that you can compete against at a high level, and we have an opportunity to play them sometime next year. Oh, remember, hey, when these votes go out, you need to take care of business, and that will be the approach, and that's going to always be the approach as long as I'm coaching. We want our guys to be the best, so we're going to push them to be the best. So, hey, that's the approach. And our guys know it. They see it. We talk about it. Hey, coach, he made All-Met, and I ain't get right. Kids don't miss anything.
Yeah, you know them conversations.
Oh, man, kids don't miss anything. Social media is crazy. Kids see everything. They tell you stuff that you don't even know. Like, hey, this guy made first team All-Met. Coach Rod gave him 30. How he made first team All-Met? So it's just a motivation for kids to be able to go forward the following year. And I had a young group, so now guys, hey, we don't want to talk about it. Let's get to work.
Right. Understood. Well, we got another great WCAC coach on the line. Steve Turner, are you there?
I'm here.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm hanging in there. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So, Steve, National Gatorade Coach of the Year. How you feeling?
That's a little while ago, but I feel good.
Gotcha. Well, talk about the corona. How's it affected your program?
Well, with us not being in school, we don't have the opportunity to have the guys in the gym. For me this year, I have 2 seniors who are still looking for a home. So it's a different way of helping that I'm having to help their recruitment and trying to make sure that we find a place for them to finish, get their 4-year degree from. So that part has been a little more challenging, and I've found some ways to be more resourceful by having a little more time on my hands. So that part is working out. But it definitely makes for challenges. I think the blessing for us is that we were able to get our kids online right away with virtual learning. And the timing for us at this end of this week, starting tomorrow, our kids go to spring break, and that would have been the same date that they would have been on the spring break anyway. So for the next 2 weeks, those kids will be able to be off, kind of get some time to themselves and their families. And then, as this epidemic keeps going, and we get to find out where it's going to head and hopefully stop, we have at least a couple weeks at the school and institution to figure out what's our next step.
Understood. So while we're on the topic of All-Met, let's talk about Terrence Williams. How special is Terrence to the program?
I'm trying to find a way to sneak him back in for one more year. I think what defines Terrence is his ability to get it done in more than just on the court. I saw Mike posted something about the Gatorade Player of the Year this year, and I think something that's special about that award is not just a basketball award. The first opportunity you get to even be considered is what you're doing in the classroom and what you're doing in your community. So a kid like Terrence who's been considered for that award for the last 3 years, and then to finally get it his senior year is a testament to who he is as a young man, both on and off the court.
Nice. So we got Mike Jones on the panel. Talk about what it's like coaching against Mike Jones. What's some of those battles like? How do you prepare for the DeMatha Stags?
And you ain't got to be nice.
to be honest, I mean, I think it helps what defines me as a coach. Mike and I think we have a really good relationship, but I think we, you know, they say iron sharpens iron. I think the challenges that we have in our league, our coaches that coach before the both of us, and the challenges and the battles that they have, we've been able to continue to have those wars in league, but we're also really good friends off the court. And, you know, he's given me and helped me in a lot of ways. I talked about it before in a couple other segments where my first year, he was one of those guys who, you know, reached out to me when I was going through a tough time, understanding what it takes to take over for a legend. I can only say I appreciate Mike in so many ways because of how he's treated me like a brother.
You don't coach like that when we playing against each other, man. Like,
I told you when we in that rectangle, that's a whole other story. But after that, we boys. No, I mean, you know, it's one of the best rivalries in the country, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Like for those 32 minutes, sometimes it's not fun because that's a good friend you're looking at across the other sideline. But our ability to be able to push our guys, make them better, and give them opportunities is what makes the rivalry special.
Gotcha. So a lot of the coaches give you a lot of respect. You have 18 years as far as WCAC. What do you highlight your program on? What is your mission and your statement?
Starts with, I mean, it's one word for me, family. You know, my goal every year is to continue to push these kids and use the game of basketball to be a vehicle for them to have an opportunity to get four-year degree, and hopefully be able to be in a position where they can afford their parents not to have to pay for their college education.
Nice. Well, Steve, stay on the line. We got some more questions. I'm going to get back to the panel. I appreciate you dialing in.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Bird, we're going to get to you, man. You over in the county side, Prince George's County. So you're going to the Final Four. Corona hits. What does it take as far as the staff, your bench, your players, your staff, every day of practice? What does it take to go back to the States, to the Final Four? How do you get back so quickly?
Well, we started, it started last season when we did take that loss at Maryland University against Lake Clifton. When we left University of Maryland, it was the locker room was pretty sad as expected. But we had 10 players returning. And before we left the locker room, they all stood up and said, "Coach, we'll be back. Don't worry about it." They just talked to each other and said, "Man, we'll be back." And I kept saying that to them throughout the season. You know, that's what you said. You know, mean what you say. And, you know, as I told them, the regular season really didn't, you know, define, or they couldn't back their words up until we got into the postseason. They worked so hard over the summer. They ran cross country. They worked out with Chris and Mo Gibson. We played in the off season. I mean, all of that was to prepare for them to keep their word. And I just kept saying, you know, it wasn't that tough on me because I just kept saying, you the one who said you were gonna go back. So we got to the playoffs, and that was the message every game. You know, if you really meant what you said, then we'll find. It's time now to really actually find out. And this year I had a kind of a new staff. Brought in a young lady, Emma, who, you know, she just wanted to kind of get her feet wet in coaching, and ended up being a great asset to us.
Oh, you got a female on your staff?
Yes, and she did a great job. Brought in one of my former players who, you know, played 3 years for me, and he also works at the school as a math teacher. And then I brought up the JV coach to help out with the varsity, and I only had one returning varsity coach from last year. So, you know, they all worked together. They worked hard, and it was one of the best staffs that I've had since I've been at Douglas. So, you know, it made it easier. It made it easier in that way, but it was all on the kids. And I told the kids every day, and I tell the parents, I really am not into coaching to get rings. You know, I've never been someone who, you know, I'm the same person, win or lose. So they wanted to return to Maryland, and all I said was, okay, I'll do the best that I can to assist you, prepare you, but the kids play the game.
So if you're not in it for the rings, why are you in it?
I'm in it. First of all, the coaching is fun. I don't want to take the fun out of it. I don't want to take the level. I'm very competitive. My first coach was my dad. And I've always wanted to be the person to coach the team, kind of be the person they look to for strategy and leadership.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I feel as though if I've done those things, then I'm able to walk away from any game that I played, win or lose. Of course you want to win, and that's a good feeling. But it's also a good feeling when they graduate. It's a good feeling when they, you know, you see them after they graduate college. It's a good feeling when you see them on a daily basis because I work at the school. So, you know, I don't take the losses too hard, and I don't take the wins as you know, overjoyed.
Gotcha. Well, let's kind of speed things up a little bit, but I do want to stay on this topic. What defines a winning season? Now, the goal is always to win the chip to get the ring. But, Mike, you went through a stretch where you won 5, 4, 5, and you didn't get nothing.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay, let me get my numbers right.
Correction.
6 or 7.
7, bruh. But you also went through a stretch where you didn't get 6 or 7. So what defines a winning season when you're not getting a ring? And I'll start with you.
When you're not getting a ring?
When you're not winning.
I mean, it's...
Keep it real, Coach. Keep it real.
I mean, that's tough. Like, I mean, I can only speak for myself in the environment I coach in. That is not a successful season if you didn't win. And, like, I think a lot of people feel like Berg does in terms of, we do this for the kids. Like, do I want a ring? Yes, absolutely. But that's not it. Like the joy I saw on my kids' face when we won a championship, the joy I get when they sign scholarship papers, the joy I get being able to turn on the TV and seeing them play, but also the joy I get when they come back years later and they got their little son or daughter with them and they introduce me to their wife, I get invited to a wedding, whatever. Like all of those things are, you know, one of my coaching buddies, Kevin Sutton, calls living trophies. Like, so all of that's great.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I coach at DeMatha, man, and you know, I know that 6-year stretch that we did not win after winning 6 out of 7. A lot of people felt as though something was wrong. And that's tough. Like, I think Rob kind of touched on this a little bit when he was giving one of his answers. You know, and my response to that is, the reason why I wanted to coach at DeMatha is because of that. Like, you know, everybody called it a drought. Well, how many other programs went 6 years without winning one? Did they call it a drought at their place? No, not even a little bit. It was DeMatha wins more than most others, and y'all aren't winning. Like, what's wrong? Like, what do you need to do? What are you not getting? Are you the right guy for the job? What's wrong with your players? Like, all of this stuff.
So what's the pressures of actually coaching at a DeMatha? And
I mean, I don't call it pressure. It's reality. It is what it is, and pressure is something that maybe you don't see coming. Like, I mean, I knew what I was signing up for. I knew the man that coached before me. I knew Morgan Wooten had set this bar that is never going to be attained. Like, so.
That's big shoes to fill.
But you also know, like, everything I'm trying to do is to reach that bar. I know I'm never going to get there. But damn if I ain't going to try. And my teams every year the same way. And, you know, I got to make sure I keep that good balance of, it's supposed to be fun. You know, this is a game and all that other stuff. But then also the competitor in me, You know, I played for Berg. I played for Coach Wilson back in the day. We did win, right?
Yeah, we won.
And like, yo, that's why I want to be a part of this game. You don't play anymore. You become a coach. You want to win just as much as you did when you played. So it's a little bit different on Madison Street.
Absolutely. So, Bird, you kind of touched based on that, but I want to spin it down there to Rob. What's a winning season for you when you don't actually get the chip?
I'm pretty much like Mike. I'm not gonna sit here and play. At Roosevelt, the bar has been set high. We've won championships. So when you win championships, every year people expect you to win championships. And do you put pressure on yourself to do that? I would say Rob Ninkens does. A successful season is that all my kids graduate, all my seniors get an opportunity to play at the next level. And I'm being honest, man, because it's so, right now in society, anything can happen. It's so tough that we don't lose nobody to getting killed in my program. That's important. I mean, I'm just being real. In Washington, D.C., man, you have kids that go to the subway station sometimes and get stabbed or anything can happen. So for me, is that if these guys in the gym with me from the hours of 6 to 9 or study hall from 3 to 4 or the rec center with me or wherever we at, they're safe. So that's the number one reason why I love coaching basketball, because I got these guys around me and they're not in harm's way. But like Mike said, you want to win championships. You're not coaching this game to not win championships, but basketball is not important when it comes to helping these kids in everyday life. It's not important at all.
And I want to jump in there because, Rob, you actually said before, I mean, think about, you know, Rob is 28-1 going into that championship game. And if they lose, that's it.
Right.
Like, yeah, you 28-2, that's a great season. I mean, how many other coaches would love to have that? But the way Rob is wired, like, nah, that's not good enough. And all the people that have seen Roosevelt win over the course of the years, alumni, administrators, like, yo, that's not what we did this for. You did it to win a championship. So, like, when you look at, you know, coaches being as passionate as they are about it, that's what that comes from. I mean, you 29-1 and 28-2 are like two opposite ends of the spectrum, and many people don't look at it that way.
And like I said to my kids, you know, my pregame speech was, you know, we've worked hard this year, but if we do not win tonight, technically it's been a bad year. And I know that's really hard to say, but you're 28-1, and that's why I say I was so emotional in the press conference with Chad Ricardo trying to explain that, like, couldn't sleep at night thinking about that the night before. Like, man, you have to win tomorrow, because if you don't, you're number 2 in the city, but you got probably one of the top, maybe best records in the area. So that's a heck of a thing to have on your plate. But you know, God is good. We was able to win the championship this year, so it was a blessing. But that was the pressure that, you know, I felt going into the title game this year. Like, man, you know, Rider Nation, they want to win, and I know that because we set the bar high there. We built the program there that it's about winning. We've been to 10 championship games in the last 11 years. So guys want to win. It's not a joke, but understanding that this one night, if you don't get it done, no matter what you've done this year, Rock Creek, bottom.
Understood. Let's talk about rivalries a little bit.
Okay.
So you and Wilson.
Yeah.
Theodore Roosevelt and Wilson.
Correct.
You and Hernandez.
Correct.
First of all, is that a rivalry?
Absolutely.
Got you. What are you guys' relationship as far as you and Hernandez?
And that's so funny you say that. Me and him have a pretty good relationship. People don't understand that we do. Now, I like Mike and Steve. They boys, but between them lines, I want to beat them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't, just like I know he wants to beat me. But I got a lot of respect for Wilson's program and what they've done. They've built a pretty good power, not only in Washington, D.C., but nationally over the last couple of years. So he's doing an outstanding job. But I'm a competitor, just like Mike said, he's a competitor. You want to beat Wilson. You want to beat Damon Singletary, who's my best friend, the head coach at Dunbar. We work together every day. He wants to beat Rob Ninkens, and I know that. I want to beat him too, but, I mean, after the ball's put in the closet, we're best friends. We go out, we kick it, whatever. But between the lines, as being competitive, you always want to beat, whoever you're playing against, because they want to beat you.
Gotcha. Bird, you got any rivals?
The school, pretty much the Douglas Gwen Park thing is a rivalry.
301 strap.
Yeah, but as far as a particular coach, I don't really have one coach over another who I just particularly say I gotta win against this particular coach. I look at each game. I take the game one at a time. I mean, I know these guys have strong rivalries because of the quality of the teams that they playing against. Our league kind of changes every year. At the top is usually a couple of teams, like the Potomac, the Oxon Hill has been pretty tough the past couple of years. But I've been in a league where when I first started, I've seen pretty much, and these guys have been around long enough to know that every team in Prince George's County has been the team at a certain point. And I've seen every one of them be good at some point. So there's no, at Siouxland, it was Siouxland Largo, Siouxland Oxon Hill, Siouxland Roosevelt. It just seems like I attract rivalries for some reason, but that's good. It makes the games fun, makes the preparation good.
So you think you attract rivalries?
Yeah, I definitely think I attract
Why
rivalries.
you think you attract rivalries? Because y'all winning?
Well, we gonna give you a good game. We're gonna have our school behind us.
Gotcha.
We're gonna have a lot of support. I appreciate all the support that I get from my administration, my friends, former players. You can look behind my bench and see players from when Neil played still coming to watch my games. So, you're gonna get people there. It's gonna be competitive. We're gonna be prepared, and it's just been fun. It's been fun. I haven't. When I was a young coach, I was just like Mike, and I was just like Rob. I wanted to win, and I used to take winning tough. I haven't always been like this. When I coached Neil,
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
I used to take losing tough. The worst loss, we lost to Oxon Hill at the buzzer when I was at Siouxland, and they were number one in the area. And when we got back to Siouxland, I think I sat in my truck until the next day. Kids were getting off the bus, and I was still sitting there in the parking lot. So I had to kind of take a step back and kind of put things into perspective and say, this is not the world. And now it's easier for me to talk about this now. But I know the passion that they have, because I had that same passion.
It sounds like you can relate to that a little bit.
Yeah, I've sat in the parking lot too. Last year, and I lost the championship game to Wilson. You just sitting there and you just replanning in your head, like, what could you have done better? And we got blown out in that game, and I've been there. But I think as I've gotten older in the game of coaching, I'm just like Bird. Do I take losses hard? Yes, absolutely. Because I'm a competitor. I want to win every time I step on the floor. But I've gotten better over the years, understanding, man, that you're not going to win every game, and you have to understand that. But you're not trying to lose a game either. So it's a catch-22. You just want to be prepared and give your kids an opportunity to play their best every night, and prepare them to play their best every night, which is not an easy task. There's people that judge you at 8 o'clock at night, but don't know all the preparation that go into making sure that these kids understand what you're trying to do and the level you're trying to play at. And I watch Mike. I watched 2 of Mike games on TV the other day, to see, the stuff that he runs at DeMatha. And we got some great coaches here that, in Washington, D.C. that do an outstanding job. And the only way you're going to get better, you have to be a sponge. And I'm a sponge. This late in the game, I'm still a sponge. I'm still a sponge this late in the game. So I take my hat off to these 2 guys on the panel because they do an outstanding job, and I don't think they get the credit they deserve. They are great coaches.
Mike, talk about your toughest loss, how you felt about it, and how you were able to learn from it and transition to those situations where you find yourself in peril again.
All right, so I can tell you right now, every loss I've ever had, I remember. Like,
facts.
Like, I can tell you exactly what happened. I can tell you, like, yo, you screwed up right here, man. You should have. I can tell you all of them. I hate losing way more than I like winning. Like, it's not even close. And to classify one of those as my toughest loss, it all depends. Like, because toughest loss and what the loss I learned the most from probably are two different things.
Gotcha.
I wasn't even the head coach when I had the loss that I probably learned the most from. I was Coach Wooten's assistant, coaching Summer League back in whenever Mike Sweetney was at Oxon Hill. So this is 2000, 2001 maybe, 99, 2000, somewhere in there. I'm coaching the Summer League team at DeMatha at the Rock Summer League at High Point. And it was my first chance to be the head coach. For whatever reason, coach decided to let it be the championship game of the Summer League. And we're supposed to win. Like Oxon Hill, they got Lamar Butler, they got Phil Goss, they got Mike Sweetney, they got a mob too, but we're supposed to win. So in the Rock League is a running clock, and people are screaming at me. We're losing late in the game, screaming at me to call timeout. And I just actually told this story to my staff the other day. And me being young and stupid, like I did not want to get in any situation where I was going to let people yell from the stands and make me do something that I probably should have done, but you ain't going to tell me what to do. So I didn't. And because I didn't, we wound up losing the game. Like I'm sitting there, got my arms crossed. No, I ain't calling timeout. So like that was something that I learned from if you're going to coach this game and be successful at it, your ego's got to go. And we all have them. We all have an ego. And we wound up losing that game. I remember one of my current coaches, Sam Manstead, was on that team. And I remember as soon as the final buzzer went off, he looked at me. I'm 25, 26 years old. Man, why you ain't call timeout? So, like, our relationship has evolved over the years because, like, I should probably listen to him too.
Correct.
But I didn't. So I learned a lot from that. Now, Bobby Hurley's team at St. Anthony's beat the crap out of us, not on ESPNU, not on ESPN2. They beat us on ESPN. Yeah. And I will never forget that. I'll never forget how I felt because we actually had a championship team that year. We won. It was 2011. We won the DC City Championship. But for whatever reason, on that day, nothing we did went right, and everything that they did went right. And it was embarrassing. I remember being in the airport the next day, coming back from the hoop hall, and like I was so ashamed of myself. I didn't want to show my face back at school. Like it was bad, man. So, it's definitely different levels to losses.
Gotcha. Now we still have Steve on the line, but I want to address who is the rival for DeMatha. The WCAC every night is a tough fight, but who would you consider the top rival for DeMatha right now? Steve, you still on the line?
Steve not on the line. Nah, he hung up.
Yeah, hey,
Steve. I'm right here.
We're going to let Mike talk, then we're going to come right back to you.
If it's not Steve, you got to keep it 100.
You know, that's hard, man. I will say this. Steve mentioned the iron sharpens iron thing. Steve's won 4 championships in the league, and he's won 3 out of the last 6 years. And, last year when they won, it was 3 out of 5. I ain't gonna lie, I started being like, hey, man, he winning a few too many here. Like, what's going on?
Steve. Take it easy.
Slow down, partner. Like, I'm happy for you, but like, yo, man, this is so. But our league, and Steve would attest to this. Like, St. John's is really good.
Absolutely.
Paul the Six is really good. All 4 of our teams this year were ranked in the top 10 at one point in time. So it's to say Gonzaga is the biggest rival. It is. Like, I can say that, and I would also say the reason why is we're the 2 only all-boy, well, the Heights now, but we're the 2 traditional all-boy schools in our league. And no matter what, we share a commonality between us it's always going to be a rivalry there. But, I mean, we've had wars with Paul VI. We had one this year. We've had wars with Bishop O'Connell. I think McNamara looks at us every year as, you know, hey, we're the two CAC schools in Prince George's County. So, you know, Gonzaga is the easy answer to that question, but that's no disrespect to all the other teams that we compete with all the time. So,
man, Steve, you still there?
I'm here.
All right, Steve, I want to ask you the same question. Who's your rival?
Keep it real, Steve.
Well, hold up. Hold up. Steve's gonna say he better say St. John's.
What you mean?
Because St. John's and Gonzaga are the two oldest Catholic schools in this country, and they have had a rivalry for hundreds of years. Like, why would it not be them?
Steve, you still on the line, Steve?
So I just gave you a reason not to mention us, man.
Nah, no buddy system.
No. I mean, real talk is we talk about it all the time on High Street. It's in basketball, it's Gonzaga. I mean, it's DeMatha and St. John's. And it's St. John's for what Mike just said to you, the oldest rivalry, the oldest Catholic rivalry in the country. And DeMatha because they were always the team that everybody was taking. You know, I'll say it. When Mike had that stretch of 6 or 7, I felt like we were the team that was flipping their heels. And I felt, and the reason why I go back to saying it's everybody for us, because I felt like every night, no one felt like they could beat DeMatha. So we were the next best thing. So they were bringing their A game to us every single night. And I feel like it hasn't changed.
Gotcha. So, Coach,
you talked about it. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I mean, when you go into those gyms on the nights of us playing DeMatha or St. John's, it's a different feel than almost every gym. Other than now, Paul VI. I mean, I don't care what night it is. I don't care where we're sitting at in the league. In those 2 games, it's going to be a packed house. And the games become the best ones, I feel like, in the league.
Nice. So while I got you on the line, I'm going to transition into the next question. What's the difference between when you first started coaching versus when you're coaching now? We have social media. We got a lot of different things that change the momentum of coaching. Could you elaborate a little bit on what's the difference between when you first started versus now?
The access. And social media has created a lot more access for a lot of people to use your program, your kids, your school, the league. So there's ways for people to really find out a lot more about you that you could keep to yourself in a lot of ways that you can't do anymore. I think it's created an environment where everyone says they want one thing, but they really want another. And you know, for us in recruiting and trying to bring people's families into your family, you always have to be aware that what both people want is the same. And social media has really affected that in a lot of ways. Some for the good and a lot for the bad, to be honest with you.
Bird, you looked up, man. So I know you're not a big social media guy. You've been coaching for 33 years. What would you tell yourself when you first started, now that you know the game?
What would I say now compared to how I was?
Yeah.
I'm just glad they didn't see me when I first started. Well, Mike did, you did, but I guess you've seen, maybe you could answer that better, or one of my, like Mike has seen me as my younger coaching days. I don't know what difference they see now. Personally, I just think that I just put more things in perspective now as I see more players, former players. You know, at 33 years of coaching, obviously you haven't won 33 championships. But I have been part of championship teams on a lot of different levels. So, and it hasn't changed me personally. It's just that team won the championship, and then as soon as that championship is over, you get ready for the next season. So that's kind of, you know, I haven't gotten to where, you know, a championship and I'm ready to quit. You know, it's always about what's going on the next day and move on to the next day. And that's probably the change that I've had in coaching compared to how I was. Because like these guys said, I was very, very competitive, and I still am very competitive. Like for 32 minutes, I'm still the same coach for that 32 minutes. As soon as the horn goes off and that game is over, I have all the respect for the team that I played, the coach, because I know he had to do a lot for his team and more than just prepare for the game. And I think about a lot of different things about coaching because I've been around so many great coaches. So that's probably the difference right now. But I mean, I'm not trying to sound like my team's not going to try to win the game.
Right.
I think people know that's not true.
Yeah.
But it's just the off the court is a little different. And, you know, the arrogance, the walking around, you know, like, yeah, my squad want to see your squad. I've gotten out of that. You know, it's more of a respect level for any coach that I know right now.
Yeah. So talk about the pedigree, though. When you were coming up, you were telling me about the 5-star camp. Elaborate on that as well.
I wish that it was the way it was. When I first started coaching, I wanted to be a coach. And, you know how they tell you if you want to be, you have to be around the people who can help you. So, you know, I started going to camps. I think my first camp experience, Lou Wilson got that for me. He had me drive a van to BC All-Stars. The van probably had a hole in the floor. Tav Hickman was with me. I think Monty Williams was in the back. And it was just, back then it was players and coaches. That's it. And not just high school coaches, it was college coaches who were all like sitting in a room right now, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You know, so I went to 5-star by myself, and you know, you could be eating breakfast with Roy Williams and Jimmy Valvano, and then lunch, and it was no outside media. It was just the players in the camp and the coaches, and that's where, you know, the conversations about coaching. That's where those are my roots of coaching, and I think you know, they can't do that now. I don't even think it's allowed to have situations like that now, but that's that's the roots of my coaching, and I think a lot of coaches would benefit if that situation was just as it was now, because those are priceless moments. You know, when you just, you know, everybody's no cameras around and you just talking, and you know, Howard Garfinkel pretty much put me put my mindset to where I really can coach at another level. You know, he kind of stamped me as a coach, and when, you know, you stand by somebody like him, that was really what was the difference.
Gotcha. What about you, Mike? What would you tell yourself 18 years in the game, your freshman year coaching? What would you say to Mike as a freshman?
I probably all of those different scenarios that happen within the game. You know, I would better prepare, and I don't think I've ever not prepared, but obviously knowing what's coming, I would have prepared maybe a little bit differently when I was younger. But I mean, honestly, I think the biggest thing, and I would say this to my younger self as a player too, the same thing, player or coach, to enjoy it. You know, I've been able to travel the world because of the game of basketball, and I remember as a player, I was stubborn. I didn't want to go sightseeing when I was in other countries and things like that. I wish I could go do that now. I wish I would have done that back then, just to enjoy every moment, because, you know, like some of our seniors are finding out right now, like, you just never know. And, You know, I just to really appreciate all the things that God has blessed all of us to do. Forget just being able to work with the young people we get to work with, but to enjoy all the experiences that come along with it.
Gotcha. So we're going to close on these last two questions. We had you here for a long time. Shout out to Timothy Dean again. But put your coaching caps on real quick. 2003, you now are the owner of a team, NBA. You had a first pick. Are you taking LeBron or KD, and why? Now I'll start with you, Rob. LeBron or KD first pick?
I'm taking Kevin Durant. I think he, with his length and his size, he has changed the game of basketball to me. He's able to score at all three levels. You can put, I'm not saying LeBron's not a great player. That's a tough question, but KD, I just like how smooth he plays the game. And I think he's more of to me, a killer than LeBron James is. Kevin Durant, even when he got hurt, he was off to a pretty good start before he messed up his Achilles. He hit a couple of shots. Kevin Durant knew he was hurt going into the game. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, but his heart is so big. I think LeBron sometimes is too laid back to me. I think he's the best player overall in the world, but I think he's too laid back at times. And I know there's a lot of people that, Rob Ninkens gonna get chewed out about with this, but he depends on other people too much to be the player that he is. And I think Kevin Durant, as you can see, when he came to Golden State, yeah, Steph Curry and them were great players before he got there, but when he came in there, he was just on a killer mode. And I believe when he gets healthy, you'll see a big difference in the New Jersey Nets franchise because he's just a killer. So I would take KD, definitely one. That no questions asked. He would be my number one pick in that situation.
What about you, Bert?
I'm going to take LeBron James.
LeBron James. Okay, why you taking LeBron?
I mean, no disrespect to Kevin. I think he's a great player. But you asking me as a coach, as a GM, who would I select?
Absolutely.
And I'm definitely taking LeBron James. Just for the simple fact that more boxes are checked off. For me. For me as a coach.
So name those boxes, though.
Leadership. Which I need a leader. Gotta have a leader that the team just respects on a whole nother level. Basketball IQ.
Okay.
Means a lot for me. Then you just can play any position. You're the smartest guy with the basketball at every time you have it. You're the best guy on the court. When you had a basketball in your hand, you're the smartest guy on the floor. So the trust level, I mean, not going to make a bad decision. So for me, it wouldn't take me long to make that choice.
Okay. So we 50-50. Is Steve still on the line?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, Steve, I'm going to go to Mike, and then I'm going to come to you.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike. Mike, go ahead, Mike. I got
introduce him in, and you want to leave him hanging.
Steve, where we going?
Seniority, Mike. It's all yours.
Steve, you on the line. Who you got? GM hat on. KD or LeBron?
It's a tough one for me. But with the way that the game is being played today, I'm going with KD.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
Speak, champ. You know in which you always speak.
So, some of the things, Rob said some of the things. I love his ability to be able to score at all three levels. I certainly as his coach would ask him to do a little more with his back to the basket down on the block. I thought in the last couple of years, you watch KD start challenging himself even more defensively. If he brings that aspect to his game, I think he's the best in the world.
Okay. You right.
So, first of all, little fact check here. So, LeBron, 2003 draft pick. KD wasn't until 4 years later.
Right, but I'm saying but I want to put them in that class as 2003.
So they both at the same time.
Right.
Like I'm gonna lead us in a draw here because I'm gonna pick LeBron. KD is the best player in the world when he's healthy, like no doubt about it. But I'm gonna pick LeBron because every team LeBron's played on ever has been relevant. Every team LeBron's played on ever. Like I just sat up here and told y'all how much winning championships is important. Well, LeBron's in that conversation every single season he's ever played, except for his first year, first 2 years, and then last year when he was hurt. Like every other year, I mean, no one's ever been in the finals that many times except for maybe Bill Russell in a row. Like, I don't think you can ignore that. Now, again, I'm KD all day. KD is the best player in the world when he's healthy. But in terms of that, LeBron's impact has been every team he played on is playing the longest. They're playing well into June. They're playing a week before the NBA draft. And if you're going to have a chance to win a championship, I'm going to pick the player that's going to give me the opportunity to do that.
Hey, now, speaking of KD, man, everybody know I'm a big KD supporter. I watched his career coming up from the Goodman League and Bury Farms all the way up into the NBA. But is it fair to compare LeBron to a scorer? To me, in my opinion, LeBron is more comparable to Magic Johnson.
Correct.
Everybody tries to compare him to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and these killers, something that you just mentioned. But is it fair to LeBron to actually compare him to a scorer when he's more of all-around player?
Absolutely not. But y'all asked the question.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at it, and people talk about LeBron at the end of the game making a pass. He is wired to make the right basketball play every single time. If there's somebody open and they're on the floor, I am supposed to pass them the ball. I know that everybody's going to yell at me because I didn't take the last shot or say that I'm trying to duck the pressure of taking the last shot. But he's open, and somebody's paying him money to make this shot, so I'm going to throw him the ball. Michael Jordan never do that. All right?
Kobe.
Did it with Steve Kerr one time.
As a coach,
Kobe ain't doing
you got
it
your
either.
coaching hat on, and it's a coaching hat, and it's a different hat. The coaching hat, we want players to make the right play.
Correct.
Now, when we sitting back talking, and we not coaching, then we don't have a problem with that shot. We do have a problem with him passing, but if the coach on the bench, then we want always stress making the right play.
So you say if you're watching, you don't
I'm a
mind
Kevin
that
Durant
killer
guy.
instinct,
So
taking that last shot,
you know,
even under duress.
yeah, definitely. But as coaches, and you see the coaching hat right now, when we're in practice, and if LeBron takes that shot in practice, Mike Jones is going to blow the whistle and say, you had a guy open in the corner.
Right.
You should have threw it to him. That's what we're going to say. But then we get to the game, and
Bert,
like
I got to
said,
cut you on it.
we get to a game, and we're watching the game maybe somewhere else, and he makes the pass, then we don't have a problem with it. So, you know, you're asking coaches,
we
coaching
talk
basketball
tonight.
questions.
We coach talk. So y'all going with LeBron. Y'all two with LeBron, right? But y'all saying, or you just said KD is the greatest in the world when healthy.
Absolutely.
I believe
But
that
you going
too.
with, but both of y'all going with LeBron to start a franchise.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In 2003.
Yeah.
Said
Because
2000.
one played
You did
college.
say 2003.
I did. In 2000, one came straight out of high school. So I just want to put the dynamics. But for you a little different down there, Rob.
I mean, no. Now when they broke it down the way
Oh, they had to coach it. Okay.
from a coaching standpoint, you want your player to make the right play. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie. So with Mike breaking it down like that, I hear them.
Okay, we learned
But
that here.
KD, like I said, healthy, to me, he's a killer. And at that point in time, when we talking about in the draft, I'm looking for a guy to come in my franchise and to completely just light it up.
And when you think about it, KD as a killer, so to speak, him shooting the ball is the right play.
Depending on the defense.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, there you go. So depends defensively what's going on. If it's a guy under the basket open for a layup and KD shoots that shot and I'm coaching and he misses, I'm going crazy.
So I'm
From
gonna
a
give you a
coach's standpoint.
quick example.
Hold on,
That's playing against Steve Turner's team in the championship in 2009. We are down by 1 point with 9 seconds left. I got Quinn Cook on my team. I got Jaren Grant on my team. Both of them love them to death. Both of them great basketball players. Have made me very proud. In the huddle, and Quinn definitely agreed. Quinn was going to shoot the ball if he got the ball. Like, no doubt about it. Steve knew that if Quinn got the ball, he was going to shoot the ball, no doubt about it. So we ran a play for Jaren Grant to get the ball because I knew Jaren Grant was going to make the right play, whether it be him shooting it or him passing to somebody else. Right. And he winds up drawing 4 defenders and throwing the ball to somebody else who scores, and we win the game. Right. If we had thrown the ball to Quinn, maybe Quinn makes a shot. Like, we will never know. But I know for a fact, and in that situation, I wanted the ball with somebody that I wasn't worried about shooting the ball. I was worried about making the right play.
Okay, Coach. Steve.
Yeah.
You got anything to elaborate with? I know you wanted to interject a few times.
Well, what I was going to say is, and he touched on it a little bit, is there are certain guys who want to take the shot. Now, none of us can say we coach LeBron, and none of us can say we coach KD on the teams that we've coached over the years. But there are some certain nights where you do want that. You want a certain guy sometimes to take that shot over the next guy.
Yes, sir.
Now Mike described that situation, how they beat us that year. Grant definitely made the right play. Can't take that away from him. Certainly, we were trying our best to make sure Quinn didn't touch the damn ball. But I think there are some, like, as coaches, we said we put on a coach's hat. There's certain guys you want to take certain shots. I can tell you, with both Christians that I coach, I'm going to live and die with those guys taking certain shots.
Correct.
Understood. So since we're talking about NBA a little bit, if the NBA was not on pause and the season was still continuing, who wins this year? Is it the Lakers, the Clippers? Who's winning, Steve, and why?
If we continue with the way the season was going,
absolutely,
LeBron was about to get another championship.
Rob?
I thought I saw young LeBron coming back, doing a lot more of the things that we said he needs to do, or that we like to see him, or wishes he would do. I thought he started taking games over down the stretch and being aggressive to the rim, but also continue to still make the right plays and mixing it all in together.
Honestly, I'm a James Harden fan, so I'm a Houston Rocket fan, so I'm not going to say we was going to win the championship. I think, honestly, the champion was going to come out the East this year. I thought the Milwaukee Bucks was going to be a really tough out come late June. I just had a feeling they was going to do so. I thought they was going to win the East, and whoever they saw in the finals, man, that's a great basketball team that we don't talk about a lot, but I think in a 7-game series with the guys they have and the way they can score the ball and defensively how tough they play, I've seen them beat a lot of powerhouses in the West. I thought they was going to win it all. I really did. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see that, but I believe Milwaukee will come out as NBA champions this year if it was to continue. I really believe that.
What about you, Bert?
I mean, the little bit of the NBA that I saw, it's either the Clippers or the Lakers. Give the edge to the Lakers just off of
check boxes.
Yeah, they can rebound a lot better. They protect the rim a little better with Davis and McGee and also
yeah, they
White.
got 3 7-footers.
So I think they can kind of wall up when if they play the Clippers when Kawhi and you know when they get to the rim. So that's the only advantage. No home court advantage, obviously. But I'm gonna say Lakers over Lakers, and then anybody in the East I really don't think they have any problem with.
Clippers in 7. Clippers are going to beat the Bucks in the championship. And I say that because Doc Rivers, championship experience, Kawhi, very recent championship experience, and I think that's the only thing that can combat LeBron and what he brings to the table. I think that's clearly the Western Conference Finals, which I think either one of those two teams would have beat the Bucks, but I think the Clippers win against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals and then beat the Bucks in the championship.
All right, so we're going to close on this note before y'all give us some remarks and advice during this Corona times, but name your Mount Rushmore of all coaches, any coach, any area, but this area. Any era, any coach, but it has to be in this area.
Tough one.
So I actually just did this on Twitter not too long ago, and a couple people reached out to me, not too happy. I'll leave them out of this. I won't name names. Morgan Wooten, definitely, without a doubt. I think his influence on the game has been so widespread that you cannot have that. Joe Gallagher is the person that actually got Coach Wooten into coaching and won so many games and had so many great players at St. John's. So
You got to tell us the program these coaches came.
St. John's. And then Dick Myers at Gonzaga, Steve's predecessor. One of the classiest men I've ever met, one of the classiest people I've ever coached against, and he won a lot of games himself. And then that fourth one is just it's so hard, so tough. But I'm gonna go Carroll Holmes, the coach at Carroll for such a long time. He's a DeMatha grad, so shout out to him. And Carroll Holmes, I believe, is coaching girls basketball right now. He is such a basketball junkie that, you know, when he got out of Carroll, he loves the game so much, and the fierce competitor he was as a player definitely translated into him as a coach, and I mean, he's just great for the game. So those are my four.
Nice, humble four. You ain't put yourself on it?
Oh, if we go top 50, I maybe sneak in at 50 or 51.
That's nice. That's nice. What about you, bro? I see you over there pondering.
Yeah, it's tough. So the coaches in the county, that's what you want?
Yeah.
From not current coaches.
They can be current, they can be
Your
past.
list is your list.
Yeah, but they have to be Prince George's County
Prince
coaches.
George's County coaches. Number 1, Walter Fulton.
My man.
The chief. Number 2, probably Ernie Welch. He gave us the most problems at Central. Man, do some research. High Point used to really be a dominant team. In the county, so many great coaches. Third coach in the county, maybe there was so many that I didn't know about, but when I was playing or coaching, my guy Irv Hay, and then the other one is also from Fordsville, Mr. McCorkle. A lot of people don't know about it. He won back-to-back state championships. And I say those guys because I had direct, contact with them. But it was so many great coaches. Lou Wilson, definitely I had to mention him. As you know, anytime I talk about coaching, I got to talk about Lou Wilson because I wouldn't even be sitting in this chair without him. It's just a lot of good coaches. Like I said, the counties have been good.
Gotcha. All right. Rob, is on you.
You said full?
Yeah,
because it's
full.
a million to me, but I mean full. I got to start my alma mater. Spingarn High School, John Woods is one of the best of all time. He wasn't coaching when I was at Spingarn. He was the principal, but I learned a lot from Coach Woods, man, about basketball when he was my principal at Spingarn High School. Mike McGleese at Dunbar, who's a mentor to me now, is one of the best of all time. Jodine Davison, Dunbar High School, is incredible, great coach. I've heard a lot about him, even when people talk to me like, you like Jodine Davis. I have friends that have said that to me. I mean, I wasn't into basketball in that era, but from what I hear about him, he was an outstanding coach. And I would say Frank Williams, Coolidge High School, legend. They named the building after him. Frank Williams was one of the best ever. And we got so many great coaches in D.C., but you're talking about from what I know in my era, but I know it's so many before me that I don't know, but them four, I've heard great stories about their legends in D.C. basketball and guys that I chased that I want to be like and remember like. So that's my four.
Gotcha. So let's end on this note. What's the state of high school basketball right now, and what advice are you giving the kids? Let's close on those notes. So we'll start with you. We'll start back with you, Rob.
The state of high school basketball?
Yeah, as far as with the corona, without it, what are we looking like? What are the rumors? What are we hearing about this year's basketball season?
Honestly, I'm just worrying about everybody being healthy. Like I said, basketball is going to be there when this is over, but basketball's not really important right now. When you're dealing with something like this, you're worrying about lives. And every day, I just showed y'all the count before we got on the air. I mean, they're saying America now has really been hit heavy. So people are really, really dying. And I don't think we're taking it as serious as we need to. But every day, there's more and more cases that are growing. So, for basketball, and I would tell guys in my program, I think Mike hit that earlier, we're saying, and I'm going to take this back to my program, is that, right now it's important to get yourself rested and not to worry about basketball as much. Basketball will be there when this blows over. God's going to blow this over, and basketball will be there, and that's going to be my approach the rest of the way. And I want to thank Mike for saying that. Sometimes as coaches, we get caught up. Coaches get caught up in basketball where we don't think about what's really, really going on in the real world. And for him to make that statement early tonight, it hit my heart, man. Basketball doesn't mean anything right now. Because I would hate for one of my kids to get sick or something to happen to them. I wouldn't know how to act. So that's going to be my approach. And I think basketball will be there when this blows over. And it'll be back. But right now it's about everybody being healthy.
Gotcha. Bird, what about you for Prince George's County? Y'all got stuck in the Final Four. Are you hearing anything, any news right now from the athletic department?
Nah, our message has pretty much been the same. They haven't given us a final word saying that the tournament has been canceled. The last word we got maybe about 2 weeks ago was saying that it's still postponed. Dr. Goldson is extended the schools to the 24th. Right. So I guess we'll revisit then. But until then, we just just keep everybody in the house and be safe. It's like these coaches said. This is something that we never had to deal with before, and the best thing to do is to listen to the experts. And they say stay in the house. So I'm not going to tell my kid to go outside and play basketball right now when it's not healthy for them to do that. They should stay in the house.
Gotcha.
So, my message is stay in the house until it's clear for you to step out and work on your game.
Gotcha. Now, when it is clear, let's say they do have the Final Four, would you still like to have it played this year? Is it a wash? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't want to say it's a wash or I don't really know. Like I said, this is something that we never dealt. I've never been through a situation like this. Would it be the same if we played the game like in April or May? I really don't know. I think once we get back into the gym, maybe to fire a light back up. But as right now, I can't really picture us playing that game. But if they say that we're going to play, there's 16 teams left in the boys and 16 in the girls with uncertainty right now as far as winning a state championship. But you got to understand that is winning a state championship more important than just the safety of students. And when you look at it that way, then, you know, I think the last thing they want to talk about right now is when we're going to play that game.
Gotcha. We'll close with you, Mike.
I think the biggest thing right now with the game is I think it's great. You know, we've been spoiled in this area because there's so many great players, so many great programs, so many great coaches. The DMV is just a hotbed for basketball. So I think the state of the game is great. And it's something that I think we all, you know, every year you talk about, oh man, this class leaving high school, this class coming into high school, this is one of the best we've had in recent memory. But we tend to say that every single year. And that's, again, just a tribute to how great basketball is in this area. And, you know, as we kind of go forward, you know, things were already changing a little bit with AAU and the NCAA and high school stuff in the summer and things like that. You're going to continue to see that kind of transition. AAU is always going to be prevalent, important, needed. There's so many kids that's their chance. But I also think you're going to also see there being more exposure to colleges being able to go to the high schools and see kids play with their high school teams. And I think it's the best of both worlds, and especially in an area like this that has great AAU programs, great high school programs. Like, this isn't going to do anything but make the DMV even more attractive to the colleges, and I think you'll continue to see that over the years. As soon as this craziness and madness is over with, I mean, you're going to have kids rushing to get back in the gym with their team, so I can't wait.
So that sounds like summer leagues. Well, you heard of Summer Madness? Hey, you playing in Summer Madness this year, Rob?
For sure.
What about you, Bird?
Come on now. You don't have to ask me.
All right, that's family.
I'm day one.
So meaning we might have to have a re-up show with you guys after y'all done seen each other on the basketball court.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Mike promised me a game.
Okay.
Then we ain't get the game.
So y'all might do it in Summer Madness.
So we on air right now.
Summer Madness?
Checkmate.
No, hold on. I ain't hear the question. No, we actually did agree to play.
We did.
I reached out kind of late to you, but don't make it seem like I didn't reach out.
No, I'm not saying that.
But I did. But it was late. It was too late, and
Ding,
it was
ding.
my bad. But yeah, and actually, you know, the WCAC rules have changed a little bit. We're going to divisions now. So whereas in the past we had 10 non-league games we could play, we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more flexibility. So hey,
out.
Y'all heard it here first.
Any player that played for me, I want to just to say we played the game. Man, it's not that serious, but him, Durkee, that Coolidge.
Sure.
I mean, all those guys that I had the chance to just see as players and were in the huddle listening to me scream at them. I like to see them coaching.
So this is the one thing about that, and I won't do this to Bird because I know that's not him. But I do have a rule that if I play anybody, they got to play twice. It's got to be a home-to-home. I hate it when coaches try to call you the one year they know they're going to be good.
Right.
And they want to play you that year. And, you know, whether it goes one way or another, but then you don't hear from them again for 10 years. Like, I don't do that. And Berg has never been that way, so I'm not saying that about him. But, like, usually when we agree to play somebody, they got to play us twice, home and home. We'll go to your place, you come to our place.
How you feel, Bird? Was shaking on that? No.
You already know. There's never been no problem filling the schedule.
I'll be looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
I will be in attendance whenever.
Once again, coaches, we want to definitely say thank you for coming out. We want to give Timothy Dean another shout out off of 450. We appreciate Timothy Dean. We're going to have more events here. Make sure
Shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits.
The shrimp and grits are lovely. What you have?
I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get something leaving out
The
like
Obama burger.
Oh, the Obama burger official. The wings official. Make sure you stop by. They got a brunch as well. But once again, this is the State of the Union. And we are the, who are we?
We are the union.
Yeah, the Union Group. I'm about to say the Huddle.
The Union Media Group.
We are the Union Media Group.
Consisting of
right.
the Huddle.
The Huddle.
The DMV Red Zone, Tone Drone, the Commission, Brain Stream.
Heard it here first. Thank y'all again. We out.
This is the Union.